What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you episode 1 of my 2022 Junior Gold series. First, I will briefly cover the 4 practice sessions, then I'll move into the summary of qualifying rounds 1 and 2. So without further ado, for my first video in 7 months, let's get started. To start everything off, on July 15th, we left Brighton early to drive 7 hours north to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Once we arrived, the first practice session went okay. It's the one I felt least comfortable on, but I usually don't feel as comfortable on shorter oil patterns. The following day, the next practice session went much better. I felt a lot more comfortable as I was able to stand a little bit further left and throw reactive over urethane. Later that afternoon, my third practice session was a little bit weird. It took me a bit to get lined up, but once I had the right ball in my hands, things went much better. And to wrap up the practice sessions, my fourth and final one, Sunday at 7 a.m. This one I felt quite comfortable on, and it also felt like the longest pattern of them all. If you're familiar with Junior Gold, you may know that you can throw any bowling balls during the practice sessions. But before your first round of competition, you can only select 5 bowling balls that you can use for the rest of the tournament. I brought the 9 bowling balls shown on screen, and after all 4 practice sessions, these were the 5 bowling balls I selected. That concludes the 4 practice sessions for this year's tournament. Let's move in to qualifying round number 1. In the 40-minute practice session we had a few days prior, I had planned on throwing my pitch black during competition. But in the 10 minutes of practice we had before this block, I had found a better line with my pin up phase 2. I missed 2 makeable spares in the second and third frame, but after that I stayed clean for the rest of this game. For game 2, things took quite a turn. I only struck once and I ended up missing 4 makeable spares. If there's anything this game showed me, it's how important spares are in this tournament. If I would have made those 4 makeable spares, I would be about 150 spots higher on the standings. During Game 3, I threw the ball a lot better. Though I did miss 1 makeable spare, and I left a 7-10 split on what I thought was a pretty good shot. I also left another split in the 10th frame, which ended up costing me a 200 game. I didn't start game 4 off on a good note. I missed a 10 pin in the first frame. After that, I threw some pretty good shots up until the 7th frame when I left a 4-10 split. I did not end this block on a good note because I missed a makeable spare in the 10th frame of my last game. My total for this block was 718, and that put me in 460th place out of 1,200 bowlers. Now let's head into qualifying round number 2. This block did not start off all that well. Game number 1 was pretty rough, and I missed 4 makeable spares. Although I had 5 strikes that game, my open frames brought me down into the 160s. Game 2 went much better. I was clean through the first 8 frames until I unfortunately left a split in the 9th frame. With no strikes after the 6th frame, I barely got into the 200s that game. Game 3, things went very well, and this is an example of a game I wish I could throw all the time at this tournament. I didn't string a ton of strikes together, but I made all of my spares, and that made a world of difference. With 5 strikes that game and the rest being spares, I got to a 212. For my final game of the block, things took an unfortunate turn. I hit a lot of transition and I also missed 2 makeable spares. I made a great ball change in the 8th frame, but I threw a bad shot for my first ball in the 10th frame, which ended up costing me a 190 game, and that made it my second 160 game for the block. This brought my block total to 744 and my grand total to 1462. This brought me up slightly in the standings to 388th place. I know this was a bit longer of a video than I typically make, but I still hope you guys will stick around for episode number 2, which will cover qualifying blocks 3 and 4. But yeah guys, that is basically it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And that's it, I'll see you guys in the next one.